Intended to be mature.
I love that. I know.
After it happened, I expected someone to do something. I expected parents to show up with questions and concerns. I thought the police would have done more, but nothing happened. Nothing changed.
Shh, quiet. Someone will hear us.
They opened it again the next year, and they were back to their old habits.
Troy, did you hear something?
Relax, babe. Probably just Steve trying to scare us.
They're just kids, right? So was he. He was just an innocent boy. I was a good mother to him. My boy. My sweet, sweet Jason.
Well, and, actually, thank you for that segue. It's so good. So the Kickstarter ends in November. So really, it's only been a very short period of time that you've started to make that transition from summer camp into Friday the 13th. I mean, how would you describe the process as it's been going now?
Well, Kedron and Chuck, we're lucky to have those guys because they're doing all the hard work. we had the design and did all the pre-production. Had this idea for years and years in our head, but it's those guys in his team, Phonic, that have to actually do the work, model the cabins, create Crystal Lake, spend hours and hours and hours and hours on revisions of making sure each Jason looks perfect. I mean, for our part 3 Jason, we went through how many iterations? You're probably sick of me right now, but like
I'm
40?
so sick and tired of you telling me what yellow looks like.
I mean, I was like, I was zooming on the mask, but like, that hole is not right. It's a centimeter too big. Move that. The jawline's not perfect. There's supposed to be a damage mark in the forehead. I mean, he's like, enough already, right? But credit his team for taking on that role. And if you want to explain what your team's doing right now.
What did you say?
Yeah, if you're going to kind of describe sort of what you guys are doing in the Phonic right now, what you've been taking on. I mean, obviously, you've been working on some Jason models.
Yeah, lots of Jason models. We've been essentially digesting everything from the movies, from like the crazy points where people are no situations. The problem with the movie is it's a linear experience. Video games are not linear, so players can go do whatever they want, pretty much whenever they want. Movies, you have control of everything. You know, lighting, gameplay experience, gameplay viewer experience, everything like that. But in games, it's you got the multiplayer game where a player decides to, teabag your dead body. That's going to happen in every single game from here on out. We have to deal with that. So we have to just try to make sure, especially when we're doing a horror game, how do you make that work in a multiplayer experience?
In a multiplayer setting, right?
Exactly.
So it's essentially a survival horror experience, but with 7 other people with you. So it's both cooperative and competitive, but also individual at the same time.
Yeah. And there's 2 parts of it. One is you have to embrace the trolling and actually incorporate it as part of the game experience. And that sounds weird when you say that, but it's embracing the trolling means how do you make that part of your living this horror experience, and you give the players the control to, in some way, screw each other over. And that's what makes it good. You don't want everyone just to be like, oh, you're my friend. It's like, no, I'm just going to wait till the last moment to screw you over and watch you die. Like, that's awesome. So
it just occurred to me that there are probably people here that don't even know what the gameplay experience is.
I think that's skipped over fair. So, Ronnie, you want to take it on or do you want me to take it on?
I'll say it and I'll let you take it over.
It's basically, so Ronnie, what is the game like?
It's multiplayer only at this point, but not to keep directing people towards our slash record. People have been asking about single player, and we know I love single player. No one likes to put a game disc in and no servers be available, right? So what we're trying to do is a single player, and that's some of our stretch goals. But
we're not looking to do a campaign.
No. It would be some single player challenges, probably from a first person perspective. Just one example would be Jason's kicking in your front door and you're in the Jarvis house, even though that's not really what we're doing. And you have 2 minutes to find the keys or a weapon and defend yourself or escape. and it's all in first person, whereas our multiplayer title is in third person. So it's a completely different experience. It's small scenarios that you can play on different difficulties. So it's a different experience. But yeah.
All I would say is you might get it in your head that like, oh, but I want to play Jason and kill people. That would get so boring so fast. You really think Jason doesn't really, he's never presented with a challenge. Yeah. So it would actually kind of violate quite a bit of the canon. But now let's talk about the multiplayer, because that is the core of the game. And yes, we call it asymmetric multiplayer, but it's not asymmetric multiplayer as you might expect from the few instances of asymmetric multiplayer that have come out.
So it's 1v7 or 7v1. One player takes control of Jason, and the other 7 control camp counselors. Normal, everyday camp counselors trying to survive the night. And you can be the jock, the nerdy guy, the nerdy girl, the
sporty girl.
Yeah, the athletic girl. And they all have some stats that they're pretty good at, but everyone can do everything. So everyone can swing a weapon, everyone can drive a vehicle, everyone can hide and use stealth. Some may be better at it than others. And that's
everyone can run.
Everyone can run. It's great, but they may be slower or faster.
You can try to run, you're not going to get anywhere.
So really, whereas a lot of asymmetric multiplayer games lock you into a class, and then now you're the trapper, and you have to do certain things, and that's your only job.
Or you're defined by sort of the weaponry or what your kit is. That, you know, exactly. Fundamentally, you can everyone can do everything, but you might be slightly better.
Exactly.
Now the result of this may be that you want to be kind of near the nerdy guy because he can start to repair that truck a lot faster. And so you know maybe you'll hang out with him, you'll go get the parts, give it to him, he'll fix the truck. Another benefit of the nerdy guy or being near him is he doesn't run that fast. So if Jason shows up, you take off first.
Yeah. So that's really the key. Is Randy can talk about all of our different gameplay experiences, but at the core, it is 1 versus 7. The counselors just have to try to survive. And you have to fix vehicles, find parts, find a weapon if you think you're brave enough to fight Jason. Call the cops.
Call the cops. Wait 15 minutes for them to show up.
If you can survive. So you want to work together at the same time. If you're in large groups, you can make noise, and that attracts Jason. Which may be what you want if you want to hide behind your buddy. So there's not a whole lot of games in the market. I can't think of any that really do what we're trying to do.
No, and that's why when I was going out and I was trying to help get people excited about the Kickstarter, that I even strayed away from saying 1v7. So it really is 1v1, V1, 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 V1. Because when you're the counselor in the game, the only thing you need to know is that you have to survive. It might be cool if your buddy survives, but that doesn't matter. You want to survive. And that really does change the alchemy, where if you think of, you know, I actually quite like Evolve, but you are functioning as a team. You go into the game together and you leave the game together.
Not our game.
Successfully or not. Here, you go in the game together and you just figure out how you yourself are going to get your way out of it. And that really opens up some of the most, and this is why I had to just work on this game, is that it's both challenging and invigorating, because you're really playing a game, a very complex game of hide and go seek, rather than a game of tag, which is so much of the multiplayer that we're so accustomed to.
Yeah, and there are lots of moments in the game, like just a couple weeks ago, where I was playing, I was trying to get all the parts for the car. I was trying to help. We're working as a team. We're all talking about where the other part might be. There are 3 parts on the car. There's a 4th one needed. Jason shows up just as the 4th part is being put on the car. That person gets hacked to bits. Somebody else is chased off and goes running away. And you know, Jason's occupied. So grab the part, put it on the car, and just run off, right? Leave everybody behind.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the most important things, you know, from a development standpoint is, you know, working on multiplayer games for a while, we just kind of learned that, you know, you can't trust people to work together. You can. There's times where you can. You're playing with your friends, you kind of get your strategy, you figure it out, you work together. There's other times where you can't count on that. You have to count on, and it was tough because when you develop games, you know, developers kind of play the games play the way it's supposed to be played. And I think that was the biggest thing we had to go into when we were kind of developing the game was, okay, you're gonna have the guy, the weak link. Like I might be the weak link player. You might have the guy that's really good, that wants to try to make everyone work like, you know, together as a team. But, you know, sometimes it's gonna happen and sometimes it's not, and you have to have the fun experience of either way. So.
Yeah. It's an odd replication of an actual office working experience. It's very strange in that regard.
Pretend you like the other person.
Well, and then sometimes you, oh, Bob's pretty good today. It's like, oh, I can't work with Bob anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob. But yeah, that's the essence.